welcome to my YouTube channel, Naya the Cocoa Bean. I am Naya, and this is going to be episode 1 to a series I'm starting called A Young Wife's Journey. I got married when I was 21, which isn't like super crazy young, but I do know it's a lot younger than most people these days. And I actually married my first boyfriend. So I really wanted to just create a series where I could talk about how I navigated being in my very first relationship, which ended up to me getting married. If you hear noise, it's my cat. But I really wanted to just be able to share my story and hopefully help others along in their journey. If you see me looking down, I wrote notes because I really wanted this to be organized and not all over the place. This is not going to just be like a short, quick and drive-by video. I want to actually go in depth on what it was like for me. And I'm going to obviously do like more episodes, but this first episode is really just going to be talking about what it was like being in my first relationship at 19 and what led to me actually getting married to my boyfriend. So that's where we're going to start. And I'm going to talk about the things that I had to overcome, things that I realized throughout the relationship, especially in the very beginning, because there's so many things I did not know about being in a relationship because it was my first one. So if you've never been in a relationship before, or maybe you have been and you're trying to navigate your relationship, hopefully this video can help you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so let's first talk about me being 19 and meeting my now husband. We met at my very first job. And when we first met, it was like, you know, instant sparks, connection. It was just like, it was beautiful. Like, honestly, we just got along so well. And at the time, he wasn't even looking for a relationship. And I wasn't particularly looking for a relationship, but I knew I wanted to find my husband. Yes, at 19 years old. I knew I wanted to find my husband. So when we met, I definitely wasn't closed off to, you know, I'm talking to him and getting to know each other and all of that. So we ended up obviously getting together. And in the beginning of our relationship, obviously it was euphoric. Like literally when you meet that person who you click like this with, it's like you want to spend all the time together. Honestly, nothing else mattered. And let's just talk about that because since I was in my first relationship, it was like I finally found someone who I could be 100% myself around, who I could do different things with, who I could show my ugly side, my pretty side, and it was okay. I would still be loved. So this actually caused me to like, it created like an attachment to my husband very early on. Even with our time, we did not understand how to even fit in our family members or our friends into a relationship in the aspect of not giving each other like 100% of our time. Like we were together 24/7. You want to talk about attached at the hip? I was attached to the hip. Like he's an only child, but I grew up with a big family, so I was with him like this all the time. I had to be with somebody. So I was with him like this all the time, attached to his hip. Like I didn't want to do anything by myself. And I will say that was the first thing, if I could give advice on for anyone who's entering into a relationship, is to understand that while it is a beautiful thing, don't let your relationship become a crutch. Because I definitely did. I didn't want to do anything by myself at a certain point. I didn't want to go in stores by myself. Matter of fact, I was sending him in the stores by himself. I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted, as long as he was there and I was in the car or something, I was fine. And I don't even know why. Look, I would never do such a thing these days. But that was number one. Like the attachment was insane and it lasted for quite a while. And to be completely honest, we've been together for 6 years now, married for 2, going on 3, and right, I think married 3 in January. But I just recently, maybe this year or last year, really started breaking off from my attachment with him through the help of the Lord, because I really had no sense of independence. And even at that time, I really had no sense of identity. I didn't know who I was. So the Lord is even faithful and graceful and merciful to even, you know, put us together during that time, because I definitely was not perfect. I had a lot of growing to do. I had a lot of development to do, and for him as well. But it was definitely a time where I made my relationship my identity, even when I was a girlfriend, and then I became a wife and I made that my identity too. So that's gonna be that has to be a whole nother video, because that right there is something that transformed my life once I started working on it. But yeah, back to the attachment. Obviously, when you're new to a relationship, it's a euphoric feeling, you know, just being with somebody who loves you, who cares about you, which I pray a lot of people experience in the first relationship. I know that's not the case for everybody, but when you're in a relationship, it should be loving. It should be mutual care, mutual affection, you know. It won't always be equal, you know. we're not perfect. So every day won't look the same in your relationship, but it's really about just knowing how to navigate the different aspects of your relationship day by day. Yeah, the whole attachment thing, it was really just stemming from the fact that I didn't know how to be alone, nor did I want to be alone. So I just kind of put my husband in that position to where he was that crutch for me to have, to always feel loved, to always feel protected, to always feel safe. And not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but it became bad and unhealthy once I literally stopped functioning independently for myself in a lot of different ways. So if you're getting into your relationship, just be aware of that. Be intentional not to make your boyfriend your world, or if you're married, your husband your world, to the point where you literally aren't functioning by yourself anymore. So that was like the biggest thing for me when we first got together. So obviously a lot of other things unfolded in our relationship that I had to learn how to navigate as well, such as arguments, disagreements, or just even making decisions together. And respect. Respect was a really big thing that I did not understand. So I had to learn how to really respect my husband, because I used to just talk crazy. And I know a lot of y'all talk crazy because look, us women can have no filters at times. We can be petty, extremely petty at times. So I know I'm not alone saying I had no filter. I didn't care how it made him feel. Not even that I didn't care. I wasn't, no, actually, yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it, because I wouldn't have said it if I really thought about how he would feel. Just certain things. And it wasn't even necessarily I was saying demeaning things to him. It was just like making jokes that weren't really funny, or just saying things that didn't need to be said, especially in a public settings. Let's not do that, women. Let's not do that, okay? If you have a disagreement with your man, keep it at home. Even if it's like where you want to pop off. Look, bless God's holy name. Let him enter into you that you do not pop off on your man in public, because that's a big no-no. We don't argue in public. We keep those disagreements to the house, to the car, you know, respect each other in public, especially. Something I had to learn, which, I mean, I never disrespected my husband in like a public setting, because I was shy anyway. So, but yeah, I don't get off topic here. But okay, so we talked about the attachment. That's clinginess too. Attachment, clinginess, that's like the same thing for me. So let's talk about how I even felt being in a relationship, my first relationship at 19. In high school, I saw a lot of my friends already in a relationship. Like, they were having sex already. They were like saying, I love you already, a lot of them. Or I was watching them go through breakups and stuff. So I was kind of just sitting in the sideline, giving them advice here and there. Just kind of, I would always say, my first boyfriend's gonna be my husband. And I don't know where I got that from. Look, the Lord must have put that in me, because I have no idea where I got that from. But I think I also just, I was not interested in dating around. Like, I had no desire, literally no desire to date around and be in different relationships until I found the one. Just draining for me. Like, I had a low capacity for people back then, in the sense of like giving my time in like a relationship sense. I didn't want to do it. So even in high school, even when I did get approached, I would always make an excuse. Or I would just let the conversation fizzle out, especially because a lot of the guys that went to my high school, I just knew like they weren't the one. I was young, but I knew that much. I just knew they weren't it. I strongly desired to have somebody I could connect with, but I had no idea where I would find that. Because in high school especially, I was also focused on trying to fit in with my friends, trying to fit in with the, you know, the culture of high school and everything. And I just felt like I could not find anywhere where I was just like 100% myself. So I had a strong desire to be in a relationship from I was in high school, but I didn't actually act on it much during those days, just because I really wanted to focus on my grades at the time anyway. I did feel jealousy. I did feel isolation. I felt alone a lot of the times, just because I felt like I was watching everyone else make connections. So even if you're at that stage in your life where you're feeling like everybody else has somebody but you, I completely get it. I understand. It's not a nice or lovely place to be in, but you can and you will overcome it. Especially those feelings will feel more amplified the more we focus on them. If you are in that stage of your life, I would really recommend, first of all, have a relationship with the Lord. Number one, have a relationship with the Lord. Because if you really fill yourself with God, you won't feel alone. You'll actually come to enjoy your alone time. Not saying you don't need people around you who care about you and who know who you are and everything, but until those people are brought into your life. Even when they are, you know, having a relationship with God really helps you to focus on Him, focus on the blessings in your life and not what feels like is missing, if that makes sense. If you're at that stage in your life where you're really wanting somebody, or you just wanting friends, whatever it may be, just to feel less alone, I would definitely recommend having a relationship with the Lord, growing into a relationship with God. If you haven't introduced Him into your circumstances and your situations, now is the time. There is no better time than now. And I'm gonna have a series on our relationship with God anyway. That one's gonna be called Grace and Growth Talk, which I'm super excited. But yeah, that'll be another video for that series. But yeah, that did help me as well. The crazy thing is I didn't really know God during that time. I would just talk to Him and pray to Him. It was light work, I ain't gonna lie. Like, it was very surface level, but it still did help me during that time. So my feelings when I got into my relationship with my husband so young, obviously I said it felt euphoric. I felt very alive at that time. I was super excited. It felt fresh. It felt rejuvenated. We were doing so many things together. It felt like I had found almost purpose in my life at that point, because I didn't really know the direction I was going in my life. So when he came in, I was like, oh, now I have something to focus on, fixate on. It really gave me something to do every day. And not saying I didn't value our relationship. I definitely valued our relationship. I just didn't understand its purpose in my life at that time. So it checked off a lot of boxes for things that I felt like I was missing. And now looking back, I don't regret, you know, the way things unfolded in the beginning of my relationship, even though I did use him as a crutch for myself in a lot of ways. It had to happen so I could learn. It had to happen so I could grow and develop in who I am and who we are together as a couple now. So it's like, I don't regret it. I definitely don't regret it. It wasn't always beautiful or pretty. It hurt, you know, because whenever we're growing, there's going to be growing pain. So that's expected. Even if you are going into your first relationship, if you get anything from this video, it really is to give yourself grace. Give yourself so much grace, give yourself so much love, because even whether this be your first relationship or your 10th relationship, you deserve to be loved, you deserve to grow, and it's a good thing for you to grow. And a part of our life is all about our experiences, learning from our mistakes, literally getting better with everything that we do. So don't feel like you need to have it perfect or put together from the beginning, because that definitely wasn't the case for me. And we're 6 years deep now. So you can definitely grow together, but you need to be intentional. You also need to be aware of how you're treating yourself and how you're treating your partner, because if you're not, then you definitely won't grow. If you keep doing certain things without evaluating where you are or how it's affecting your partner, you will not see change in your relationship. Yeah, so I hope that made sense, just because that is super important. You're going to be growing through this relationship, no matter if it's the first one or the 20,000th one, okay? Just being in my very first relationship, I had an amazing experience. I truly, truly, truly love my husband. I have grown to love myself, and I'm still learning to love myself. But just being able to connect with someone on a level where we have mutual respect, where we have boundaries, where we are growing together literally every single day, it's something that everybody should get the chance to experience. Let's talk about how we actually ended up getting married. With my husband being my first boyfriend, I already knew from the jump, and I let him know from the get-go that I had no intentions of being with him if he didn't intend to marry me. And I told him that because I just, like I said, I was not interested in just dating around just to date or just to be in a relationship, just to be in a relationship. I wanted the end goal. At least that's not even like the end goal, honestly. That's just a part of it. But that was my goal. Like, if we're going to be in a relationship, it needs to lead to marriage. So I made that very clear from the jump. And I don't know if a lot of people would recommend doing that, but look, I think there's no point in wasting your time if you know you want to be married and your partner is like, well, I never want to be married. I don't know. Like, why? Like, why? Because just for me personally at the time, I just wasn't interested if it wasn't marriage, just because I knew what I designed out of my life, even if I didn't know what it would look like on the way there. So I told him, yeah, like, I hope you know, if you're going to be with me, I do want to be married. Like, I want this to end up in marriage. And he understood. He said he agrees. He wanted his wife. He wanted his wife. This was my first relationship. I think this was like his second. I think this was his second relationship or third, either second or third. but he definitely understood. He knew what page I was on. He knew I want. Oh look, I took off my ring because it was nicking my. Hold on. What? Oh, I had to take off my ring because it keeps pulling out the thread in my shirt. But he knew I wanted that ring. He knew I wanted the ring. So it's just like, make your intentions clear from the beginning. Not saying for everybody who watches this, you need to automatically be like, oh, I'm ready for marriage. That is not the case. Just for me specifically, I knew I was at a point where I wanted a relationship that would lead to marriage. That's all. So don't feel obligated like, oh, but I'm not there. No, it's okay. It's okay. Everyone's journey looks different. I think we were 3 years into our relationship when we got married. I believe it was 3 years in. We actually wanted to get married sooner, but neither of us were in a financial place to really have a wedding. So we just kept waiting until finally one day, I think I was the one who told my husband, like, I just want to get married. Like, even if it's at the courthouse, I want to get married. Because I was feeling a lot of conviction during the time because we were living together outside of marriage and everything, outside of wedlock. And I told him, I was like, I think we should just get married. And I'm gonna do a story time about what we actually did. I'm not gonna share it during this video because I want it to be a separate video. Because that whole thing, I can laugh about it now, but it was not funny. It was not funny. But we did end up getting married at the courthouse when I was 21 and I think he was 23. I want to say 19, 20, 20. Yeah, I believe I was 21 and he was 23 or 24. One of those. Either way, we ended up getting married just because we did know that was what we wanted to do from the start. We were at a time in our life where we were just like, we are already like acting as husband and wife, so why not just make it official? And also, I will say during that time, even when he agreed, he didn't want to because he wanted to be in a position to where he could take care of me in every single way. Like, he wanted to have the car, the job, the house, everything, the credit score, the savings. He literally wanted everything to be lined up. This was not the case for us. We were not in a position yet to where we had all our finances in order. We had the house, we had the cars. All of that was not in order. And had we waited until that happened, we would not have been married. We would have just kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But it was like, it didn't make any sense to, because you really do not have to have everything perfect, to move forward. And I know everyone's situation is different, obviously analyze your situation and do what's appropriate. But for us, it definitely was not a thing of keep waiting until everything was perfect. Keep waiting until, we had everything we thought we should have. It didn't make sense at the time for us. So that's why we went ahead and got married. And now we're building all of that together. And it's amazing for me just because now I'm doing it with my husband. It just feels a lot more stable now that we're married. It doesn't feel like we're just trying to build something just for the sake of building. It actually is like purpose and intention behind it now. So yeah, that's how we ended up getting married and what it kind of looked like. Now with the disagreements and arguments, it was something I didn't completely understand, obviously, how to navigate from the get-go. I just kind of did it the way I always did it growing up. You say your piece, they say your piece. Walk off if I get angry, whatever, you do what you do. I was just doing what I did at that time. But as we grew deeper into our relationship, I began to actually be more intentional. Let him talk, I talk, and then we, come to a mutual understanding or a solution, something together. In the early stages, whenever I was upset about something, whenever we had a disagreement about something, I would shut down. I would stop talking. I didn't want to talk. And I know a lot of us girls do this. Like, it feels like they're not listening. So we just stop talking. Like, if you're not going to listen, then I'm just not going to talk because it's not going to make a difference anyway. And I would just do that. I would just turn away and I would just shut down. Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And that was just my response. Even now, I still do it sometimes. But I've gotten a lot better at managing my emotions and being more conscious and aware of how I am reacting to the conversations, to the disagreements, to the decisions we make. So it's gotten a lot better. But the biggest takeaway when it comes to disagreements and arguments was really to listen and not let pride get in the way. Don't let ego get in the way. don't try to be right. Don't listen just to get your two-piece in. Actually listen to make an intentional response and understand where the other person is coming from. Begin to listen. I had to begin to listen to my husband, not to just try and get my point across, but to truly understand, okay, this is how he feels, this is what he's saying. Obviously, if it's like I feel the opposite or way or something, I can express that as well. But if you try to just listen just to go like, oh, well, this is, you're wrong, blah, 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 and this and that, and just to keep the argument going, at that point, you really do just need to be quiet at that point, because it's not going to get anywhere. Matter of fact, it will just damage your relationship further. So just understanding when it comes to disagreements and arguments and stuff, they don't have to end in a negative way. Now, not all of them obviously are going to end on a note that you enjoy or that you felt like it was a good conclusion, but that's a part of the relationship process as well. Navigating that, understanding that not everything has to be tied up with a pretty bow. We want it to, but that doesn't mean it always is, because there's times where we just had to, me and my husband, we just had to agree to disagree, and that was okay. It just worked out that way better than trying to keep bumping heads over a topic, you know, just to keep spinning the wheel for that. So yeah, when it came to the disagreements and arguments, just listening and communicating in a respectful way was definitely key. So just be aware of that as you are in your relationship or your marriage, whatever it is. Don't like continue the arguments just because you want to get your point across. And this doesn't mean to like lay down and be mad or try to keep what you feel on the inside. That means that's definitely not what I want to promote. It's just more so understanding how to have a healthy conversation. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, now that we have been married for about 3 years now, it's been truly just life-changing. It's life-changing to have a partner, to have, you know, a companion in this world, especially as you are growing into who you are. You know, you have someone who you can talk to, someone you can bounce ideas off of, you can do all your favorite things with, somebody who you can be angry with but still love at the end of the day. You know, it's very beautiful. Okay, this is why I took it off. It's very beautiful. So even being married now, I don't regret I don't regret the fact that I got married at 21, nor do I regret, you know, marrying my first boyfriend, just because the whole process has felt so intentional in the sense of it wasn't just for no reason. It wasn't just to get married just for the sake of getting married. It wasn't just getting into a relationship just to be in a relationship. Even when we weren't sure of where our life was headed 100%, we still understood that we wanted to create something together in our lives. So I think that's why it even worked out the way it did for us. And we also founded our relationship in the Lord. Even if we didn't do that from the start, just actually involving God in all the areas of relationship has made a tremendous difference in our life. So even with your relationship, understand that that's an area for you to invite God in as well. If you truly want it to prosper and have longevity and for things to be birthed from you guys, involve the Lord. Literally involve the Lord. But yes, overall, just being in my first relationship, it was very, very life-altering, clearly. It was beautiful. It was hard. It was difficult at times. And then it was very easygoing at times. It was 10 out of 10. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we ended up getting married, and we do love each other, and God is using us for so many mighty things that I'm excited for. So the growth process, don't hate where you are right now. Don't hate what you are going through right now. Everything can and will be used to help you. You just have to understand how to apply the lessons and mistakes to our lives in a way that we get better. But don't be scared to be in your first relationship. It's a beautiful thing. Just be conscious and intentional about who you choose to allow into your space, you know, into your life, because that will affect how well or how good or how bad it goes. Obviously, if you choose the wrong person or you choose someone who really doesn't care about you, who doesn't love you, that's what your relationship will look like. So we just want to be aware of the type of people we are dating, the type of people we are marrying. It goes, you know, in every single sense of it. Just be intentional. Just let that word be engraved into your brain. Intentional. Be intentional. So I think that pretty much touched on everything I really wanted to talk about in this first episode. If I did miss anything, I'll just talk about it in another video. If you have any questions, or if you are in your first relationship or you're about to enter into marriage, let me know down below, because let's celebrate together. Let's help each other. I really want this to be a community where we all are growing together. Whether you're in your first relationship or, like I said, your 100th relationship, it doesn't matter. Everyone has room for growth no matter what part of their journey they are on. So I truly hope this video helped you guys. I will be back next week with another video. I think I'm actually gonna post twice a week, because I want to start my other series, Grace and Growth, as well. So I think I'm just gonna interchange with those, maybe post like, we'll see. I'll post a schedule or something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the community that's built here. I pray you guys have an amazing day. I love you and God loves you more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.